a number of questions on China.
Okay.
As you know, President Biden spoke with his Chinese counterpart last night, and then the White House put out a statement saying that, and I quote, President Biden underscored his fundamental concerns about Beijing's coercive and unfair economic practices, crackdown in Hong Kong, human rights abuses in Xinjiang, and increasingly assertive actions in the region, including Taiwan. From the other side, China has said that the two sides agreed to keep in close contacts on issues of mutual concern, and also asked the two countries to reestablish a dialogue mechanism. Now, is the old bilateral U.S.-China strategic and economic dialogue officially dead, or is the administration looking to a new format of dialogue?
Well, we don't have any upcoming engagements to announce at present. I know I'm the one who normally answers the questions, but can I ask you a question? Do you have the readout in front of you? Can you read the last line of the readout?
Well, not the entire thing, but President Biden underscored his fundamental concerns about Beijing's coercive and unfair economic practices, crackdown in Hong Kong, human rights abuses in Xinjiang, and increasingly assertive actions in the region, including towards Taiwan.
Well, there's a final sentence there in that readout from last night that I think really helps to contextualize what our posture is towards Beijing. And it made very clear that even though the readout broadly made clear that even though we see this relationship through the lens of competition and our broad posture vis-a-vis China is to work to position ourselves to compete and to outcompete with the Chinese across any number of realms. The readout from last night made very clear that the President of the United States, and this also applies to the Secretary of State and to other officials, we will engage the Chinese when it is consistent with our interests, when it is in our interests and consistent with our values. So again, I don't want to get into formats or any other upcoming engagements, but it is fair to say that when it is in our interest to cooperate and to work constructively together with Beijing, with the Chinese, we will do that. That will be our North Star, America's interests, America's values, and that will guide our interaction with the Chinese.
So there won't be a framework for continuous dialogue?
I wouldn't want to get ahead of where we are. We are just a few weeks into this administration. Last night, it was the first discussion between President Biden and President Xi. As you know, Secretary Blinken spoke with Director Yang just less than a week ago. We are still in the initial stages of our engagement with the Chinese. I would hasten to add that that initial engagement at the level of the Secretary of State and the President of the United States took place only after a number of calls with our closest allies and partners. There's a reason why these engagements didn't take place on day one. We wanted to make sure that we had coordinated closely with our allies, including our allies in Europe and our treaty allies in the Indo-Pacific, but also our partners, including our partners throughout the Indo-Pacific, to make clear that our approach to Beijing was known to them, that we coordinated on that, and that, again, we positioned ourselves vis-a-vis China in the strongest possible position. When we talk about our strength in the context of the relationship with China, we derive strength from our values. We derive strength from our alliances, our partnerships, but we also derive strength from what we do here at home. And you have heard quite a bit about that from the White House, from the National Security Advisor, but also from the Secretary of State. We see our strength as our domestic capabilities, our workforce, our education, our technology, the steps we take to protect our supply chains. All of that are important sources of strength that will propel us, again, to compete and to outcompete with the Chinese when we must, and when it is in our interest to cooperate with the Chinese, we'll do just that.